I was wrong in doing what I did.
No! Are you listening?
Just want to say I love you guys still. And I am going to have a discussion with you today. We're actually going to talk about Jorrun. And I'm going to get to him. You know what? Let's just talk about him now. I've had 2 full videos about this dude. And I may curse in this video, and you have to forgive me because Jorrun really pisses me off. I think he's scarier than Lorne. I say that Lorne is an overt predator. His behavior just comes out. You can spot him immediately. Jorrun is disarming. He's the guy that comes in, you talk to because you kind of feel bad, you listen to his stupid jokes, you laugh at a couple of them, and you just move on. He moves around the party. Now in Jorrun's head, he thinks he's popular. But what's actually happening is he'll move around the party, people will talk to him for a little bit. He is so delusional that he probably thinks that he's the one who's leaving that conversation. I apologize for the pauses. I've got something going on with my throat today. It hurts. He goes into a party, goes to group number 1, makes them feel uncomfortable, tells a couple jokes, says a couple inappropriate things. They kind of drift off. But Jorrun probably feels, oh, they're the ones that are boring. If you think about it, he wants to be the center of attention at all times. And these people he's talking to, because they drift off, because they don't want to engage anymore, he's like, man, this is boring. I need to move on to the next person instead of seeing what's really going on. And that's, they don't want to talk to him anymore. So he bounces around the party. He's the guy who stays too long. He's the toxic guy. And the toxicity I'm talking about is he's the guy, if you have an idea, he's going to come up and give 5,000 ideas of how to change your idea. I was like that when I was a kid. And if you do that, and if you really feel like you're helping somebody, I ask you to challenge yourself. The next time somebody tells you about something they're doing, just be supportive. Say, good job, that sounds great. I can't wait to see the finished product. If you look at all of his crap that he put out, all those videos, his skits, everything else that he's done, they scream him. I'm not sure how much input his friends or co-workers or cohorts put into it, but it says Jorrun, which leads me to believe he's also overbearing and persistent, and he's going to get what he wants no matter what. He reminds me a lot of Lorne. And I'm going to tell you why he's scary. He's one of those people, and I think we have a few more. I think we've seen them in the chats before. They may even be on the forums. I told you guys to stay away from that. But I'll say this. He came in here because, number 1, he wants to use Lorne as a beard. We know what gay actors did before people understood it doesn't matter what you do with your privates or where you put them. They didn't come out. Rock Hudson, they had beards, and we've talked about this. A woman, to cover the fact that they're gay, the woman's okay with it because they're a power couple. She has her own side boys. He's got his own side boys. A beard. People come here because they want to hide themselves. And the way they do it is they look at Lorne. It's not hard for someone to look at Lorne and say, what a piece of shit. How many times have you heard the comments from someone, when you're having a bad day, just come here and appreciate the fact that you're not Lorne Armstrong? Those people are right, and I'm not insinuating that any of them are using Lorne as a beard. I think Jorrun was, and I think we saw that Jorrun was when we found out what he did. Now, I don't agree with gatekeeping. I don't. Gatekeeping is when someone in the community doesn't like your content. Maybe they don't believe what you're doing. Or believe in what you're doing. I'm so sorry. Believe in what you're doing, as in you're the one who's doing the catfishing, keeping this dude away from real women, doing God's work. Maybe they don't like that. They're going to passive-aggressively call you out. Now, you will hear me directly compliment or directly criticize. I try not to directly criticize. I mentioned the robot voice, not Heelborn. We're going to talk about the latest Heelborn call. The dude is a fucking genius. We're going to get to that. but they don't want you in there, so they passive aggressively start saying things specifically about your channel. Now, I admit I haven't seen everybody's streams, but from what I understand, most of the streamers, if not all of them, are very cool. Even when I go in there and I say some shit that may not even be funny or sound intelligent, they at least acknowledge it. That's all you can ask, right? They want to engage with you. Me, I'm terrible about it. However, I will be streaming. I'm making that announcement now. I'm just going to get off my ass and do it. I'm kind of afraid to speak, real time. Because you know me. I mean, look at the Susan B. Common thing. Holy shit, that's not how I wanted to word it. But it was too late. I'd already started recording the video. But I am going to stream. I would never gatekeep anybody unless they were like Jorrun. Jorrun came in this community, started doing some bad stuff. Luckily, the community as a whole, not someone specific, said enough is enough. That is proper gatekeeping. The community owns this community. Gatekeeping is when somebody takes charge of the community. And you've heard me say in the past, there's too many people to list. But they kind of just push other people out. And rightfully so in most cases. I will say this. With Jorrun, it was expertly done. We know what he did. When he liked those pictures of little girls, I'm going to tell you why he liked those. See, I don't think Jorrun necessarily even cared what their ages were. Jorrun likes a figure, most likely a skinny figure, wearing specific clothing. He doesn't even see their face, I'm pretty sure. He just sees their form and their clothes. And this is common for disgusting pedophiles and these serial killers. They don't even see their victims' faces most of the time, which is why when they're asked to pick women or girls out of a lineup, some of them struggle. As long as they look, they have the appearance. Now, I think Ted Bundy saw them, but as long as they have the appearance of what they're attracted to, that's all they need. That's all they need. And it became personal with them. And they became disgusting freaks that will go down in history as disgusting freaks. Clothes, outfits have a lot to do with it. I think every guy at one point has made a mistake. You see a woman from across the room, nice clothes, dressed the way you like, maybe dressed in clothes that someone in their mid-20s, 30s would wear, and you get closer and you realize they're way too young. I'm not talking 14 or 15, but for me, way too young would be 18 or 19. There's just too much of a gap. Can't do it. People with perversions, I don't know if I want to use the word perversions. Well, let's just talk about dominatrix shit. They have a specific fetish. That's what I wanted to use. They would look, see the initial outfit, the setup, and then they would notice the age. Oh, well, she's in her 50s, or she's 21, or whatever. It's because they have a specific attraction. And I think what makes Jorrun dangerous is he does have a specific attraction. He likes the genie costumes. And then the age comes up. And we saw what happened with him. When the age became apparent, it didn't stop him from liking those images. The good thing is, in real life, I do not think that Jorrun would be able to attract a younger girl. I don't think he could, but you never know. Predators are determined. They will push it until they get what they want. Lorne, as Casey Morrow actually said, I guess the real Casey Morrow said that he was harmless. Lorne, he was harmless when he came in. She didn't feel threatened. Jorrun walking in, just looking at him, looking at his eyes, the way he speaks, I think Jorrun is on the spectrum, autism spectrum disorder. I don't think he's typical autistic. I think Asperger's or something is in there. We're going to discuss that later. But I don't think he's socially... he can't adapt to situations socially. So a younger girl, I don't think Jorrun would be able to pull it off. I mean, the guy's a flirt. He's desperate. Pretty sure he's a virgin. Micro penis. Whatever else you want to say. I don't know. I don't know that about Jorrun. He doesn't really know how to talk about himself. He doesn't talk about important things. From what I understand, he just likes to talk about what he's interested in. And if he wants to talk about you, it's because he's interested in you. There's a specific person or purpose for everything he discusses. That bullshit is disgusting to me. I don't think he'd be able to get a young girl in his car. I think Lorne could. I think Lorne is, as Casey said, harmless. I don't think he would be threatening. He's short, he's small. He'd probably be like, hey, do you need a ride? You know how he is. What do you mean you don't want to get in my car? Meanwhile, the rage is burning underneath. I just don't think Jorrun he'd be able to convince anybody. And I think he hasn't been able to convince anybody ever in his life. During the Jorrun saga, had that been Lorne, we would have seen anger on a level that was reserved for Winnie. He would have been furious that someone expected an apology. And if he did give an apology, is well, sorry I said that. You know, speaking of apologies, I always go back to the one, it just bothers the shit out of me. It bothers me. When he leaves it, and I believe it's for Debbie, who's in the hospital. I left you a couple messages. I said, guess you don't want me in your life. Sorry I said that. He can't help it. He doesn't mean apologies. We've talked about these. Conditional. Jorrun's apology, he didn't even know how to do it. He had to have somebody freaking help him write it. How pathetic, fuck pathetic is that? It's terrible to think that you could be friends with somebody, or try to be friends with somebody, or try to help somebody who doesn't even know how to apologize, who doesn't understand their behavior is way out of line. I think if Tiffany had told him, dude, this was not okay, he would have said, maybe, I won't do it again. Or he just would have moved on like it never happened. With him, you get into dark territory. And what I mean is, clinically speaking, I don't know how many people use the term, but it's something we came up with. Clinically speaking, you get to that point where you're not really sure where he fits, if you can even place him directly at all. Sociopath, narcissist, psychopath, we've had all those discussions. With Jorrun, it's very hard to tell, because he is a performer. He loves to play the guitar and sing, and he loves to act, if that's what you want to call it. He wants to be famous, just like Lorne. He doesn't care how he gets there. He just wants to be well-known, famous. He wants to be you guys, the streamers and the other content creators. He wants to be you guys. He wants to be loved. Unfortunately for that douchebag, he totally blew it. So he's going to have to find another community. I don't know how much research people did, but it wouldn't shock me if my dude was in like an acting community or a singing community and he did the same shit. There's nothing really funny about him. With Lorne, we can laugh. Jorrun's dangerous and he's boring. He doesn't even understand that he's boring. But oh well. That's freaking Jorrun. One of the latest Heelborn calls, Lorne is raging about Rod. The dude doesn't realize that during this call he admitted to abusing Jamie. He essentially just flat out tells her, well, I wouldn't act that way. It's your fault that I'm abusing you. Again, if there's anyone out there who still thinks this man wouldn't be physically abusive, please listen closely to how he speaks. And Rod, of course, is a piece of shit. He's every name under the sun. He treats her well. Lorne has to blame it on his money, blame it on everything else. Jamie, dear God, tells him, I'm not your woman. We're not together. You are my woman, and I'm gonna fucking marry you. While he's screaming and yelling and abusing her, I'm gonna fucking marry you. I'm not your woman. You are my fucking woman. Again, tell me he wouldn't beat the shit out of a woman if they were in person. Lorne's manipulation is what differentiates him from Jorrun. Jorrun doesn't even care enough to even bother to say so confused, because I don't think Jorrun would actually admit that he was confused. Every time Lorne tries to back out of something, I was so confused. Lorne, why'd you do this? I was confused. She brings up his past. Even points out to him, you have not changed. He says the same shit about Rod he said about every guy, his imaginary rivals, anyone she talks to. He has it in his head. This is some 4th grade shit. I saw Tommy was sitting by Jenny at lunch today. Guess you must be in love with him. I'm going to say something I've been thinking for a while. I think Lorne watched his nieces. And if they tried to shower affection on anybody else besides him, besides Uncle Creepy, that was a problem. Well, why were you over there sitting next to Roy? You want to sit next to me? It's like he conveniently forgets all of the stuff that happened. I wouldn't act like this. Lorne, you've been acting like this right from the fucking beginning. Right from day one. You've been acting like this from day one. When I mentioned Will, why won't you take up for me? Well, you got to stick up with him. I'm not sticking up for him, Lorne. I'm just saying he's nice to me. I'm telling you the truth. It's fucking bullshit. Why you always got to stick up for him? She's not even allowed to say anything positive about someone else. That's disturbing. I think Jorrun wouldn't mind it. As long as you were showering affection on him, you'd be allowed to shower a little on someone else. Lorne can't have that. And he still sees the internet as this singular thing. Like it's just this giant chat room. And when you click on the internet, it pulls up a chat room. I'm not even sure if Lorne understood the internet back in the day when he was doing this. I think the only site he knew was Yahoo. Now granted, there weren't that many sites like Yahoo back then. Now, he talked about MySpace and there were some other things, but I think Yahoo was his world. So he still thinks the internet is all about chat rooms. I think he sees the live chats and streams as chat rooms. I think anything where people can interact is that Yahoo chat room to him. And it's people looking for other people, not discussing things, sharing interests, sharing hobbies. Rod, anybody, Will, anybody that had the same hobby as Jamie, and she spent some time cooking with Jeffrey today. It's obviously sexual, and there's obviously something going on. Jorrun, he would love it, and I'll tell you why. He would love it because that woman who was talking to that man, if he was into guitar or singing or anything else, Jorrun would see that as an in. He would use that to his advantage. Oh, great, you're talking to him? Great. Let me show you what he couldn't show you. Lorne has no hobbies, no skills to speak of. He has nothing to offer but his words. Jamie, I love you. I want to marry you. And that's about as far as it goes. Other guys, Rod, they have a stable, they do well. They could provide for her at times where she couldn't provide for herself, and she could do the same for him. A give and take there, a real relationship. With Lorne, it would be take. And the only thing he would give was her a stroke or a heart attack and an early grave because of how he is. This guy, again, still doesn't understand that how you present yourself. He tries to make a good first impression. He may have heard that. Like you heard about if a guy touches your hand. That's actually in sex offender class. That's in rape class. You guys, if you want to go check it out, you can. It's in most of them. And that's where Lorne learned that from. And somebody probably told him, his mom or his stepdad, first impressions are everything, Lorne. You need to make a good first impression. So he puts on that manipulative front, the lie. He laughs when he's complaining. Want to change my questions? As I've said before, I hate him. He's just an awful, awful person. Jorrun is going to be the same the entire time. He might turn up the sexuality, but I don't think he's going to change. He's going to be who he is. He wants to show you who he is. This is who I really am. Lorne wants to hide it. He doesn't want you to know how he really is. Jorrun does, because he thinks he's this superstar, and he wants you to see all of his talent all at once. He's got videos and recordings and everything else. He would flood you with, oh, let me show you this, let me show you this. I think all of us are similar. When we've done something we're proud of, when we want to show something, hey, look what I can do. Look what I can do. hey, look what I can do. Let's talk. I want to show you my skills. Tell me what you think of this. You don't really want to know what they think about it. You just want them to appreciate it. Maybe a little feedback. Then you go, yeah, next time, that's a good one. Next time I'll think about that. Jorrun doesn't want to hear any of that. It's already perfect to him. But he'll want to share all of that with you. What does Lorne have to share? Nothing but words. There's a distinct difference. I get the feeling that Jorrun can provide for himself. Lorne cannot. I don't know much about Jorrun and his personal life. I don't know if he's lying about anything. I don't. I just think he just tells what he thinks is the truth. Lorne does not. He tells you what he wants to be the truth. It's the difference. Jorrun tells you what he thinks is the truth. Lorne tells you what he wants to be the truth. So there's a very distinct difference there. Finally, they do have one thing in common. One thing they have in common is that they don't know how to read signs or interest levels from women. And that's another thing that makes Jorrun dangerous. Same thing that makes Lorne dangerous. Get yourself in a vulnerable state. They've misread the signs. They might try to take advantage. I think most of us, if we saw a woman who was incapacitated, we'd be protective. Cover her up with blankets, put her in a room that's safe, make sure nobody's trying to take advantage of her. We know what Lorne and we know what Jorrun would do. We know. They might deny it, but we know what they would do. So they are similar in that regard. This video started off, I was going to do something different, but I already got into it. My Sunday video. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Hang on, I can't even catch my breath. Hang on.